Hey up, internet. It's Black Sofa here, with my good friend, the Godless Iowan, and
Hi, everybody.
he's here to facilitate the questions for this live Q&A stream to celebrate me hitting 100 subs, and so I can see we've got 2 viewers already. So yeah.
Well, I can start us off with a question if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you know another freaking atheist, right?
Yeah.
Well, for his 100 subs, he'd got a mohawk. I'm thinking that yeah, I think Black Sofa would look pretty good with a black mohawk.
um, no, 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 I don't think I'll be doing that. It's not for me really. So, and I don't think the wife would approve either.
Yeah, I
But
don't think I could do a mohawk. I've done a mohawk in the past, but I don't think I could do it anymore.
Don can pull it off.
Yes, he does. He's able to pull it off pretty well. Um, so you've got a question in the chat. What are your top 10 favorite YouTube channels?
Ah, 10. Well, obviously your channel,
Yeah,
TGI.
that's obvious.
Yeah, and I think I've been binge watching Telltale Atheist recently, and
Great channel.
yeah, and I really, I love his art and I love his sense of humor, and his videos are very informative as well, and so he's up there in the top 10. Logic,
Okay.
he's one of my faves. Who Mrs. Snarky, I love your significant other. I love her. I love her videos, and I love her sense of humor, and
I do too. She doesn't think she's funny, which drives me nuts.
yeah, but she is, yeah, definitely very, very, clever and witty, and yeah, definitely we're, very, yeah, she's very talented and gifted, and
And I mean, to cut in while you're thinking of other channels, I really want to applaud you for the couple of comedy videos that you've done in the last little bit, because you definitely have a knack for it. They are hilarious.
oh, thanks.
I mean, the Cleveland Street Preacher one, which I guess he responded to you and he responded to Mrs. Snarky. I'm a little upset he hasn't responded to me yet. But that was amazing. I can't remember the exact line, but when you said, fuck the books, I laughed so hard.
Yeah. That was about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and yeah, I remember that now because have you seen the film?
I haven't. It's
Oh,
okay if you tell me. Spoilers don't bother me, and I think it's old
oh,
enough now that people aren't going to be bothered in the comments.
yeah. Well, there's his character. Oh, her name escapes me, but Laura Dern is the actress who plays her, and she's got pink hair for some reason.
Okay.
And Leia gets shot off into space, and she somehow uses the Force to come back onto the onto the spaceship, and but she's in a coma, and they say the obvious choice to take Leia's place is this pink-haired lady who, up until then, we'd hardly seen or heard of. No one's spoken about her or anything. And I thought, why is she the obvious choice? And then when I spoke to people about it afterwards, they said, well, you should have read the books. And I thought, well, fuck the books.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't they put it in the movie if it's an important part?
Yeah. But apparently if you read the books, you find out that she's been a close friend of Princess Leia since they were babies or some stupid like that. I don't want to.
Good to know for the movie.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why she's the obvious choice to take over from her. But I don't want to have to do extra homework before I go to the movies.
No, that doesn't make much sense.
No, it really doesn't. And I use that as a kind of analogy to say we shouldn't have to do any extra homework to understand God's message to all mankind, which is supposed to be understandable for the past, the present, and for future generations as well.
Yeah, it's supposed to be so easy to understand that even a child can get it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, going back to my top 10 YouTubers, Jacqueline Glenn, although
you perv.
You got me. You've got my number there. Yeah, it's all about the tits and ass.
Oh Jesus!
and the drama with Onision, of course.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Nothing to do with the atheistic, the atheist-related topics that she's covered. The science and the debunking. Nothing. The tits, the arse, and the drama. But no, she's really clever, really witty, really hilarious. I think one of my favorite videos was when she took on Banana Man in Ray Comfort.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And that was one of my favorite. That's one of my favorites. And who else? Anti-Ordinary, my fellow Brit. She's hilarious. And she knows her stuff, and she's very thorough in her research.
Yeah, she's very smart.
Yeah, and her ability to just pull facts straight from her mind, without having to look them up or think about them.
I know she never scripts any of her videos, which is just I don't know. I couldn't do it.
No. I don't think I could either. But I mean, I don't script most of my videos, but I mean, I do a lot of. I rehearse them in my head before I. And I do some research before I go ahead. Anyway, but yeah, she's she's been very encouraging to me personally as well. So yeah, Suris, I love.
Oh, you didn't. Oh no! You didn't mention Suris. No. This hangout is over.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck Suris.
See, there we go. That's better. Thank you. So I think you're up to 7. You had a little mistake there for just a second. No, Suris is great too.
Yeah. Prophet of Zod.
Yes, definitely.
And Dark Matter 2525.
Oh, you're going old school there.
Yeah,
He's awesome. Yeah, I do. I love Dark Matter.
and of course Hugo and Jake.
Yeah.
I love those guys. They they're hilarious. And so yeah, I think there's 10. I think there's 10 YouTubers of I think not in any particular order, but those are my 10 favorites, I think.
Well, as long as I'm number one, I'm fine with that. And I'm here on your 100 celebration, so I'm guessing that's the case.
Yes, of course. Yes. And I also count you as a very good friend as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I count you as a very good friend as well too.
Oh, bromance. Hashtag bromance.
Spooky bed hair, black sofa, poontang hound confirmed. Well, I think that might have been confirmed when you interviewed Chess the other day. That was a steamy interview.
Yeah, it was more steamy than I was expecting.
It was a great interview, though. I really enjoyed that.
Good. Yeah, I was quite uncomfortable, and I think Jess was as well. I think my nervousness probably made her a bit nervous as well, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it went okay.
I think so too.
Yeah.
There was some moments where I could tell that it was a little awkward, but you burst through it, and I guess I shouldn't say. I said burst through it, and Mrs. Snarky starts laughing beside me. But you pushed through it. There's no way to say it. You got through that portion of the interview and did well afterwards.
That's better. You did a great job. Oh, thanks. So it's good that I've got you as my wingman, and I've also, by the sounds of things, I've also got Mrs. Snark in the background as my wing lady.
Yes, she's definitely your wing lady.
Yeah, and I'm really thankful for that. That's really cool. Any more questions?
Let me look. Well, I could ask a question at this time.
Okay.
What has been your favorite? Now I got to think of how to say it. What's been your most exciting moment on YouTube so far?
Oh, right. I think my most exciting moment on YouTube was when Logic, subbed my channel. It was a real kind of fangirl moment.
I know that feeling.
It's going. Senpai noticed. He noticed.
I think a lot of us have that moment where we see a huge YouTuber subscribe to us, and it just blows you away. The first one that really got me, Professor Stick subscribed to my channel, and I just about died. Wow, I couldn't breathe for a minute. I was like, this is too exciting.
Yeah. So that was an exciting moment. And also Godless Engineer subscribed to me as well. That was really cool. And so and of course, getting to 100 subscribers. I didn't think I'd get this far, to be honest. But it's, I've just been blown away by how yourself and others in the community have just been really supportive.
Well, we love you, and what I really like is that each video that you make seems to be a little better than the last one, and your nervousness is kind of, it's easing up, and you're letting loose and making some comedy videos and response videos, and those are amazing. um and I really enjoyed your Chasing Islam videos, but I know you're not doing those anymore. um but I think you're doing really well.
Oh, thanks. I think that means a lot. And yeah, I, I, but it's just it's unfortunate that I had to finish Chasing Islam really because I found those videos really draining,
Yeah.
and I, it got to the point where I wasn't enjoying making them anymore. And I
I
thought,
I can understand that.
so I thought I had to make a. It was a difficult decision to make, but I thought I'll just stop there and just focus on Black Sofa instead. And so yeah, but I, who knows? They're still there. The videos are still there for posterity.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll return to them one day and pick up the Quran again. Who knows?
Sounds good. Mrs. Snarky wants to know what was the most difficult you've ever made, or video you've ever made?
The most difficult one so far, I think, was the night I took an overdose.
That was a powerful video.
Yeah, that it was really difficult to make that one because I didn't realize how raw the emotions still are, and until I actually told that story out loud, I I mean even it's because so even now just talking about talking about it is quite difficult even now. um it's still so yeah, that video was quite hard, but I'm glad I did it because if I can just help one person who's probably who could be going through similar stuff, then it was worth it as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's the same approach that I take to my videos. And you could tell that it was a difficult story for you to say, for you to tell. And both Mrs. Snarky and I, we were in tears listening to it.
Oh.
And but thank you for sharing that, because it's a necessary thing that people need to know. There's others out there that's gone through those same type of situations.
Yeah.
Compelled Unbeliever says, what is your approach or philosophy to approach your viewers? Who is your target audience?
Good question. I think because on this channel it is I think my main topics are atheism, mental health, and autism, with maybe a little bit of politics creeping in from time to time, but mostly atheism, mental health, and autism. And so I think my main audience are atheists, people, or either atheists or people who are on the fringe of their faith, if that makes sense. And maybe one of my videos will push them over the fringe, over the edge, and into the dark side. And so and like, for example, I'm not well that the video that when I made the video responding to Cleveland Joe. I'm not targeting him. I know his forehead is like flint, to quote Ezekiel. But maybe some of his followers, maybe persuaded that actually his arguments are not as sound as they thought they were.
Yeah.
If I can make one of them think, rethink things a bit, and also, with the autism, with the autism videos I make, I think I'm trying to reach people who both you and I, we came to, we got the diagnosis of Asperger's stroke autism, quite late, later in adulthood, later on in life. And, our friend Staggs, hasn't been diagnosed, but he strongly suspects that he might be. And if I can reach people who may be thinking that they're on the spectrum, it may persuade them to go and to start the process of getting the diagnosis themselves, and also to educate people, because I feel there's still a lot to be done in terms of awareness.
Well, and that's a very important thing to do, because you and I, we were both diagnosed with autism, Asperger's, later on in life. But I can't tell you how excited I was when I found out that you were also an Aspie. Because I was like, yay, I'm not the only YouTuber that also has Asperger's. And I think there's been several others that's come out. I think you guys call it Asperger's in the UK, right?
Yeah.
I don't know which sounds more funny, Asperger's or Asperger's. I mean, the one sounds like a horrible food item. The other one sounds like some kind of movie you might find in a back room somewhere. But no, I think it's very important to get these topics out there, because there's so much misinformation about autism. And so, I mean, thank you for doing that, for not only the atheist community, but also the autistic community.
You're welcome. That's my aim, to help people. And as far as the mental health videos go, again, it's my aim to let people know, with mental health issues, that they're not alone. There are other people going through similar stuff.
Yeah.
And so and I'm hoping that my story is, I nearly said my testimony. Force of
testify.
But I'm hoping my story will help others who are going through similar things. So and I think that's my target audience.
I think that's a good target audience. And Wonder Lady said, autism is a big topic people don't talk enough about. I think we probably both agree on that, definitely.
Yeah.
Compelled Unbeliever, how do you feel about mental health fields' approach or disinterest in hyper-religiosity?
That's a good question. My wife is a mental health nurse. And we've spoken about this, and the wards that she works on are full of people who think that they're the Messiah or some amazing prophet, like one of the Old Testament prophets, or you believe that they're super powerful apostles, or and she she says to me, the way she sees things is that if their beliefs go beyond the normal standard religious beliefs, then it's what's the term again? Religious.
He said hyper religiosity.
Hyper religiosity. Yeah, it's that's when it's getting into hyper religiosity. If their beliefs are grandiose, and go beyond the normal, church going Joe blogs,
Yeah.
and but in some cases it can be, she was saying it can be hard to tell, especially. Yeah. I mean, she, as you know, my wife is from Zimbabwe, and they're very spiritual. It's in Zimbabwe anyway. So if you have, if she has said that, once or twice she's had some, she's had Zimbabwean patients who have been, preaching the gospel to her and saying that God works through them to heal people and to prophesy and all the rest of it. And she has said to me, well, that may not be normal in Britain, but that behavior is considered normal in Zimbabwean churches. So it can be quite hard, some of it could be cultural as well. So
and I think a big part of it as well is I know that the UK is more secular than the US, but religion is really a topic that people don't like to touch.
No.
And so, like, how do you place the line of, okay, this is normal religious behavior, this is abnormal? Because you'd have to have some kind of guideline, and there are going to be cultural differences. With Pentecostalism in the US, the churches that I attended were pretty benign compared to other churches that I went to throughout my life, where people were running up and down the aisles and shrieking and just, it was utter chaos in some churches. So, like, I would say that's very abnormal, but even when I was religious, I would have said that that's abnormal.
Yeah.
But I thought my religious beliefs were normal, even though they were kooky as hell as well.
I don't know if you have heard of the Toronto blessing.
Toronto blessing. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm bad with names of stuff, so if you told me a little bit, I might go, oh yeah.
It started in the 80s. Supposedly the Holy Spirit poured out his power on this church in Toronto, and people started swooning, dancing on the spots, laughing uncontrollably, barking like dogs. I've seen video footage of their services, and there's a lot of strange things happening, and you could say that that's hyper religiosity, but there are some, there are many Christians who say that's normal in the power of the Holy Spirit.
Oh yeah. Do you remember Did you ever hear about the Pensacola revivals?
Yeah, I did hear something
Which
about
was
it.
supposedly this big revival in Pensacola, Florida, and everybody was raving about it
Yeah.
until the pastor decided to start healing people by kicking them in the face. It was like that's taking it one step too far, okay?
Yeah, but the thing is, um, uh, there was this years ago. I remember learning about him, at church because he was from Bradford. I can't remember his name. No, it will come back to me. But he was a Bradford pastor, and he used to heal people by punching them in the stomach.
That's a good way to do it.
And suppose he supposedly once healed someone of stomach cancer by punching them in the stomach,
Oh.
and people were queuing up to get punched in the stomach.
It's so ridiculous. The only thing close to that I've ever experienced was I have never been slain in the spirit or fallen in the spirit. And mainly it's because in my mind, I knew that would hurt really bad.
Yeah.
And if I didn't get caught, and I had a pastor basically punch me in the forehead, trying to get me to fall backwards.
Oh
I
God.
was so mad, I almost punched him during church. Oh, well,
Yeah.
you have more questions here. Let me go back a little bit. Compelled Unbeliever said, "Why didn't I sub to you until a few hours ago?" Well, that's because you didn't know how awesome Black Sofa was.
um,
Um,
Only you can answer that one.
yeah, yeah. Why didn't you answer it? We want answers now. Now, Mrs. Snarky asked a question to both of us. Would we be willing to ask Scientist Mel onto the Aspie Hour? I would.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
I'd love to
That'd be
have Scientist
awesome.
Mel on. Then as for questions, who would you like to have as a guest on your channel the most? Well, I mean, that's me. No.
um, apart from yourself, um, I I think Logic. I am really, when I am, I saw that Cat Brony is scheduled to have Logic, in in a few weeks' time, I think it is. Part of me was, yeah, that's great, that's brilliant. I was really pleased for him, but part of me was, as my daughters put it, well, gel. I,
You were jelly.
yeah, I was jelly. I would love Logic to come on my channel, but not just for the sake of having him on, but it would have to be going somewhere. There'd have to be some. I don't know.
Oh, wow. You have nightmare fuel on your stream right now. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Nightmare
Wow,
fuel is here on your stream.
wow, brilliant! I've seen a few of his videos and they're awesome.
Yes.
Hi, well, welcome.
But
Thanks for dropping by.
you were saying it would have to be something of importance for Logic to be on.
Yeah, yeah, because I wouldn't want to waste his time. It would have to be, yeah, it would have to be something special. Something. You know, I don't know. I can't think of anything, any reason for him to come on my channel. But it has to be something good, I think.
I think so. There was another question. Where is it? Do you see a correlation between autism and OCD?
Oh, that's a good question.
They can be, especially with high functioning like you and I, they can be comorbid, which just means they go together. Uh, I don't have much in the way of OCD tendencies, except for I really need my schedule to be basically as I think it's going to be. Um, and
Yeah,
I
I can
don't like
relate to that. Yeah.
having the schedule get messed up. Like today, my schedule has been all messed up throughout the entire day. This is the only thing that's probably exactly when it was supposed to be. So I'm very happy about that.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah,
I think,
schedule issues.
yeah, I think the symptoms of um, higher functioning autism and OCD, I think there is some overlap there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I can't stand my hands being wet or sticky. So when I volunteer at a cafe as a barista, and I'm forever drying my hands with blue roll, and I think I get through the best part of one roll a week and in that place drying my hands, um because and that from an outlooker looking in, who doesn't know me, may well think that's a trait of OCD. Um,
Yeah.
because and it could be,
Well,
but
compelled thoughts are big with high functioning. Um, there's a joke in the chat. Nightmare Fuel said, "Black sofa, your name is racial appropriation."
yes, yeah, indeed.
The sofa is a very nice black sofa. It
Yes,
could have been a very nice white sofa or orange sofa or green sofa, but it is a black sofa.
yes. I remember Skeptic Pork said, "Well, why don't you change your channel to Yellow Kitchen?" And I think my answer was, I can't be bothered. Okay. I'm Black Sofa now. That's it. And he, but I do broadcast from the Black Sofa, from the Black Sofa from time to time still, especially if the washing machine's on, and then the background noise is unbearable, and I have to retreat to the sitting room and record from the Black Sofa once again. and and it's become my name now. I am Black Sofa, and so it's kind of stuck.
Well, you are where you sit, I guess, if that's the case with YouTube. Another question for you was, what questions would you ask him if you had Logic on?
Ah, that's a good question. I think I I mean he must get this a lot, but I think I would. One question I'd like to ask him: what inspired him? We know what inspired his look. The because it's quite menacing. It's
Yeah.
the black cloth, the red and blue glasses, the top hat. He what I would ask, what inspired that look? That everybody, like I said, he probably gets that one all the time. You know, Another question that which is probably more pertinent, would be, what what who are his influences, and who has been encouraging him over the years to keep going, and to who has been his Godless Iowan.
Well, I can't that really, I don't know what to say. I really appreciate that. I'm not so good at the compliments yet, but thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, and you're one of the main people who has been a real source of encouragement to me, and I really am I'm really appreciative of that. And yourself, Mrs. Snarky, um, Anti-Ordinary, um, and others as well, have really kept me going. But anyway,
I see you as a real friend, and I have enjoyed the chats that we've had, and I think that there's a need for real, true friendships to come about through YouTube and Twitter and things like that, because a lot of times you'll see people that will be friends and then they get into some kind of small argument and then they just hate each other, and that's just not the way I am. I really, really care. So you might not like Mrs. Snarky so much after this question, but she asked, "What is your favorite kind of porn?"
Oh dear. I don't. I'm not. I haven't been that adventurous in watching porn, to be honest. I tend to stick to the soft core stuff.
So the stuff that you would see on like Stars late night.
Yeah, yeah. I guess so. I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
Or something along those lines.
But just women with their tits out. But
he's an old-fashioned guy. It doesn't take him a lot. He just needs to see the boobies.
But when I was single and young and full of cum, before I was born again, I did watch a bit of hardcore, but I haven't watched anything like that for years, because it's sinful.
It's so sinful. Since Mrs. Snarky is in the chat, I have never watched any type of porn. That's just awful. Maybe the type that Nightmare Fuel's talking about, just the ankles. That's all you need, is just to see some nice ankles.
Yes.
I mean, if you're into it, you might like seeing some cankles. I don't know, but okay, so let's try and find a serious question here. I know there was one. Let's see. Where was it? I know it was. Well, I don't see it now. Have you gotten much criticism in terms of your product over the time you've been on YouTube?
No, not really.
Well, it'll come.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, apart from Cleveland Joe, who's done a whole response video to me. I don't think I've had any. I mean, I've had some positive constructive criticism, from the atheist community, which I welcome. I welcome with open arms. But as far as negative, kind of trolling, I don't know. I think I've had one or two trolls, but I just ignore them.
Yeah.
And if I find them amusing. Well, but if they get personal, then I block them.
Yeah. And if you ever need advice on dealing with trolls, I'm there. One person that deals with trolls constantly in the chat is Nightmare Fuel. That guy gets more hate than anyone that I can think of on his channel. And he does take some controversial stances, but he always explains them very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets a lot of hate. If you could collab with anyone at all, who would it be?
I think, I would really like to do a collaboration with Anti-Ordinary.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get together for a while now, but for whatever, for one reason or another, it just hasn't worked out. So yeah,
she's definitely a good one to collab with.
Sorry?
She's definitely a good one to collab with.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to do something, with Anti-Ordinary, definitely.
Okay. How do you plan to build viewership?
How do I think just keep plodding along and just trying to produce better videos.
Yeah.
And try not to worry too much about how many subscribers I'm getting, but just try to focus instead on trying to produce better quality videos and try to make them try to keep the balance of being entertaining and informative, and just keep plodding along, I guess.
It's not about the size of the sub, it's what you do with the views.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a great way to go about it, just to try and keep improving, and the subs will come.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably already have some subs that are coming during your videos anyway. So, another question was, what's your favorite panel show?
Oh, my favorite panel show.
Being British, if you don't say QI, I'm going to be incredibly offended.
QI is definitely one of my favorites. But I think my favorite of all time has to be Have I Got News for You?
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's still relevant today. I mean, it's been going since the 90s. Since at least the early 90s. And because I was watching it when I was still living at home. That's quite a long time ago now.
Yeah. Have I Got News for You is so awesome. I love that show. KC has joined us in the chat. She says, "Hi guys, how is everyone?"
Hi.
We are fan freaking tastic.
Yes, definitely. And she's another. She and Godless Engineer. I love those guys, and so yeah, it's good to have her here. It's really it's really good to have Caitlin here.
And Nightmare Fuel gave some great advice, which we basically have to hate him for it because that's what he loves. He said, maintain integrity, never pander, be yourself. Someone on the wide internet will like you. So we have to say, ditch integrity, pander all the time, don't be yourself, and nobody will like any of us.
Yeah, that's how you lose friends and alienate people.
Yeah, just be yourself. That's the best advice. Just make yourself as comfortable as possible with being yourself, because that's kind of a difficult thing to do when you first start out on YouTube. I know, like, when I first started recording myself, I sounded like someone in a 1930s radio commercial.
All right.
I was like, no, I can't do this. Favorite stand-up comedian?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I probably Ricky Gervais.
Good.
And yeah, but it's a excuse me. But apart from him, it's probably. I mean, he doesn't do much stand up these days, but probably David Baddiel.
David Baddiel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know that one. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. He and Frank Skinner used to do a show called it was based around football, and even though I don't like football, I found it very funny anyway, and very entertaining to watch. And but before that, David Baddiel used to have a sketch show with a guy called Rob Newman, who's also a very funny stand-up comedian, and their show had me in stitches every week. And before that, again, Rob Newman and David Baddiel were in another sketch show with two other guys called it was called the Merry White House Experience. So that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I recommend. I think you can still watch some of those on YouTube.
I'll have to check them out. When it comes to my favorite British comedians, it would be Billy Connolly, and what's his name? I'm trying to think. It just left me completely. I like Russell Howard. Do you know who that is?
Yes. I do actually. I remember Jess talking about him when I was interviewing her, and my mind went blank. But it wasn't until afterwards that I thought, yeah, I know Russell Howard. Yeah.
Yeah. Other ones would be Bill Bailey.
Yes.
He's very funny. And then Dylan Moran, which they're both on Black Books, which was one of my favorite TV shows from the UK. Dylan Moran he kills me.
Yeah. And Father Ted is another show by the same writers as Black Books.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Yes, Father Ted is one of my absolute favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I love that show. Oh, I could talk about British TV for hours, because that was where, like, it wasn't shown in the US very often, but on Saturday nights, PBS would show it, which is our public broadcasting system here. And it would show it from like 8 o'clock until midnight. and they would show all kinds of British TV shows and sitcoms, and like Are You Being Served, and Keeping Up Appearances,
Oh
and then they would
yeah.
show like Doctor Who was on there, and
Brilliant.
all kinds of different TV shows. Last of the Summer Wine was one of my favorites that was on there. I don't know if you know that show,
Yeah.
but I fell in love with British comedy and British dramas back then. Red Dwarf is probably my all-time favorite show of all time, actually.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. Yeah.
um, let's see if there's any other questions here. Who is on your short list of most influential atheist? It kind of goes with the YouTube channels, but I guess this could include any atheist out there.
Um, we've already mentioned Logic,
Yeah.
but I think also Godless Mom.
Yeah.
She was one of the first atheists that I started. I actually started following her on Twitter and on YouTube when I was still a Christian, and because I was beginning to become I was interested in what atheists had to say, and so she was one of the first people I started following, and I found her to be really sound, and I didn't have anything that I could say to refute her. uh, and so I just listened to her, and I found her really. I still do find her really funny as well. On Twitter, Nikki.
Skeptic Nikki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's brilliant. Her tweets are always spot on, or always right on the money. Very very clever, very I love her tweets, and yeah, and there's another guy.
Are you a Whovian?
Yeah, I am definitely a Whovian.
Yes.
And
Doctor Who is who's your favorite Doctor?
oh, my favorite Doctor of all time has to be Tom Baker.
I love you.
Because I grew up with Tom Baker. He was the first Doctor I started watching as a child. Kind of hiding behind the sofa, and so I will always have a place in my heart for Tom Baker. I think he's great. He did it for 8 years.
Oh yeah. Anytime someone says Doctor Who, I see Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Like there have been a lot of great actors that have played the Doctor. Pretty much every Doctor has been fantastic except for that movie one, and I don't know why they went that route, but we won't talk about that one. But every single Doctor has just been awesome, but Tom Baker, that just personifies Doctor Who for me. I mean, that is Doctor Who.
He is the definitive Doctor Who.
Yes.
And I mean, and I think apart from Colin, I didn't rate Colin Baker that much, but apart from him and the other guy, the one-off feature-length movie, I didn't.
Where he was really named Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Why? Why did they do that?
I know. But also I'd like Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy. I used to really like him as well.
Yeah.
But who has been your favorite companion though?
Oh, favorite companion. Oh, I've got to think about that. Um, Damn. Some of the I did not like Rose at all. Rose drove
No.
me nuts. Uh,
Yeah.
Trying to think is like Mrs. Snarky says River Song, but does she count as a companion? I don't really think so.
No.
Um, I mean, K9 definitely sticks out.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
definitely one that I'm like, yeah, I loved K9. Um, but that's the only one that really sticks out for me when it comes to companions. Like I was in it for the doctor.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, Donna Noble was kind of cool too,
Yeah. But
but
how about Sarah Jane Smith?
yeah, yeah, Sarah Jane Smith was good. Didn't really like her the spin-off series,
No. No,
but
no, I didn't. I didn't rate that really. Um, and
really the only spin-off of Doctor Who that I've ever enjoyed, because I think there's been several, but
uh,
Torchwood was really good.
yeah, yeah, that was good. Um, yeah, but I think yeah, yes, yes, and but also um, Richard Dawkins' former wife um, played a really good companion. I can't remember her name.
Well,
But Romana, the character was Romana anyway. I thought she was,
yeah.
she was a good companion.
What would you say is your favorite Doctor Who villain?
Oh, that is very difficult. But probably the Master. Um,
Master's a good choice.
yeah. Um, but not so much the from the modern era of Doctor, but I think Robert Delgado. Um, he was great as the Master.
Yes.
He was just as sure, in my opinion, just as surely as Tom Baker was the definitive Doctor. I think Robert Delgado has been the definitive Master. He was brilliant. Um, he was like um, Moriarty to Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to Doctor Who villains, um, I I like the Daleks or the Daleks, but they've kind of become comic relief. But the ones that stick out are the Cybermen and the Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
Those, yeah. Okay, so another question is, what's your favorite science?
My favorite science is probably um, uh, astronomy. You know,
Yeah.
the planets and the stars and the solar systems and space. And it's always fascinated me since primary school.
Same here.
Uh,
I've loved space. Um, so on a side topic, I have a bone to pick with the United Kingdom. Why do you pluralize math, but you remove the plural from sports?
oh God, um, I don't know. I would ask the same question. I'd throw that question back, back at you Americans. Why do you singularize maths?
Well, because it's all math. Like, regardless of if you're talking about algebra or calculus or trig, it's all part of the larger focus of math. But sports, there's numerous sports. Like when you say the wide world of sports, you're talking about many different sports. But in the United Kingdom, you're just like, in the world of sport.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about sport, but it's mathematics, not mathematic.
You know what? I'm not as fancy as you British people with your big long words and your fancy names for stuff.
But I blame Webster. It's all Webster's fault.
That, that bastard in that TV show in the 80s, that sucked.
Yeah, he thought, screw that Samuel Johnson guy, with his dictionary. I'm going to come up with my own dictionary, and I'm going to spell words differently, and I'm going to turn maths into math and sport into sports, and spell color without the U. And
it's an unnecessary U. Why does it need the U? Why is the U necessary? It doesn't. Why?
I totally agree. Actually, I'm with you on that one. It's totally unnecessary. But English is a bastard language. It's a language that has evolved over the centuries, and we've borrowed words from the French, from the Germans, from the Scandinavians.
And that's a big part of why my founding fathers declared their independence. They were sick and tired of using the U so much.
Yes, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
It also makes me wonder if count actually means something totally different, because if you not necessary in that word, were you guys just saying, oh, we're just going to add the OU to this word, and then they won't realize we're calling them counts?
Yeah. All this time I thought he was Count Dankula, but maybe it's something else.
Yeah. So another question that you had after, I went on my spree of anger at the Brits. Let's see. Where was it? How do you decide if humor makes a good point or is over the top and too offensive for a video? And I can answer this. Nothing is too offensive for me. But what would you say?
I don't know, to be honest. That's a good question.
It really depends on the context, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah. When I did my glow pussy video, I thought, can I really wear can I really wear a shower cap? Can I? But I thought, yeah, well, what he was wearing does look like a shower cap.
Yeah.
And I thought I took it to the extreme. I made it a pink shower cap, and to really send him up. And I think comedy, and especially satire, is sometimes the best way to make a point, to show people up for how ridiculous their views actually are.
Definitely.
Charlie Chaplin did it famously with Hitler, and with his movie The Dictator.
Yeah.
And use satire to.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, it's context. Context is everything.
Yeah.
if you're making a joke, like a lot of people are going to get offended no matter what by jokes, because jokes are offensive a lot of times. But like, oh, do I give an example here? Okay, so I heard someone tell me there is no such thing there's nothing funny about sexual assault. And I said, well, just imagine that you heard that there was an 8-foot tall man who was sexually assaulted by a band of midgets.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you would, no matter what, if you were reading that, you would chuckle, even though it's horrible. It's still horrible, and I want to put that out there. It's still horrible, but you would chuckle reading that story in the newspaper.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
it's like the woman that got killed by a pack of dash hounds. It's like, it's horrible. Yes. Like that's a horrible way to die. But you read that in the paper and you're like, and
I'm a horrible person for laughing.
Yes. Well, another example of that is there was a newspaper clipping that said expert mountain climbers fall to their death. And I'm like, well, at what point do they stop being experts? Like, is it halfway down? Like, are they falling? And then they're, now they're not an expert at climbing. They're an expert at falling.
Yes. Yes. But I think, being offensive for offensive sake, or just just as clickbait, I think that's where I personally would draw the line.
Yeah, definitely. If you're just being offensive to be offensive, nah. That's where I would draw the line as well. Let's see. Well, I want to know where are you going to go from here? What's the next comedy thing that you're planning, if you have anything in the works?
I do actually. Excuse me. Just gonna. Yes.
He just said some really offensive words into his hand.
I'm going to go after people who believe that the lunar landings are fake.
Oh, yeah.
And you're probably using the same globe pussy character again. But we'll see. Watch this space, and or maybe I'll make up some other characters. I don't know yet.
I think you'll do a great job. Like I said, the 2 videos that you have out so far, I think there's only 2 comedy videos that you have on your channel so far, right?
I think, well, which is the other comedy video?
You have that one, and then you have the street preacher response.
All right. I didn't mean for that to be overtly comedic.
Well, no, I mean, it just has comedy aspects.
Yeah, but there's another excuse me, there's another video, there's another 2 response videos I've done. Which, there's one, the first one I did was a reaction to heaven or hell, you decide.
That's right.
And I think I've threw a few comedy lines in there, and I responded to the same guy that Logic responded to, but Buddy, and I think I said had a few funny one-liners in there as well.
Yeah,
I think I am going to do. I think I do have a few more response videos in the pipeline. So
awesome.
Watch this space.
Well, and one thing that you did for me is you were the first channel that I ever did any kind of guest video for. So that was really cool. You asking me to do the April Fool's video.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate. I didn't know whether you would say yes or not, but I thought, well, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. And to everybody that's watching, if you like, just ask, ask anybody that you want to ask. And more times than not, it's going to be a yes.
Yeah. And so yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do some more comedy and satire. Yeah, definitely.
Mrs. Snarky wants to know if you're going to do any more parody songs.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you mind singing a couple lines from your parody of I Got Laid?
I boast about getting laid because I got a tiny penis. I boast about getting laid because I got a microscopic penis.
Thank you.
And I did a silly song a while ago, which is the Black Sofa song, which is based on another British comedy, another favorite British comedy of mine, called Blackadder.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes. Blackadder, Blackadder.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I did black sofa, black sofa. Don't forget to hit the bell, black sofa, subscribe or go to hell.
That should totally be your outro. Not even kidding. That should be your outro.
Well, but I'd have to get someone better at singing than I am to record it for me. And maybe do a funny animation as well to go with it, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, maybe.
That cracked me up.
I'm always making up silly songs whenever I'm doing something boring, like washing the dishes or doing the ironing. I make up silly songs.
And, I do the same thing.
Like what do you're a wanker and your wife is a bitch. And last night I found your dog face down in a dish. That's because you're so damn neglectful. And I think that's just a tad disrespectful.
That's amazing. Bravo, encore.
That song's gonna be stuck in my head. Thanks.
I aim to please. And you are such a bastard, and your daughter's a bitch queen, such a bitch queen, such a bitch queen, such a bitch. You are such an evil bastard.
Rev JR said Sofa should sing The Scotsman.
The Scotsman. I don't think I know that one.
I don't know it. But yeah, I sing songs all the time,
Yeah.
going about my day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, and I try to make the sillier the better,
Yeah,
because it
passes the
alleviates the, yeah, and
In the butt. In the morning. Morning.
Mrs. Snarky has lost it.
Weenie in the butt in the morning. Family Guy.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Wonder why folks can believe in something more fun than creationism, 9/11, flat Earth, and things like that. Why not the stork theory, fairies or Santa Claus? It makes sense, but at least it's funny. Yeah, those things are funny.
yeah.
Babies don't come from a stork. I'm very confused.
Yeah. But I know we you know we laugh at 9/11 truthers, but there are a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Well, I the explanation that I think is most likely on that, the government works incredibly slow, and that slowness oftentimes brings up questions that you would like answered right away. And then when the answer does come out, it's not as good as the conspiracy answers and things like that.
Yeah.
So it just makes it look like they're hiding more. But I had questions about it initially. But researching and looking into it myself, I found that most of it is with Occam's razor is pretty easily explained.
Mm. Yeah. I need to do so. I mean, so far, my research has been the loose change documentary.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's what is it? There's another documentary that goes into exactly why some of these conspiracy theories are not as plausible as they make it seem. And I can't think of the name right now. But if no, I don't think it was Adam Ruins Everything. But I'll have to look it up and get it to you later.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I think we need to wrap things up.
That's cool. I was just going as long as you wanted to. This has been a lot of fun, and I really, it really means a lot that you wanted me to be on here with you. This has been so much fun for me.
Yeah, for me too, definitely. Yeah, I really appreciate you, being here for moral support and being my wingman and facilitating the questions. I really appreciate it.
Definitely, anytime. I have really enjoyed this. It's been so much fun for me, and I'm so glad I've met you. And that, I mean, you rock.
Yeah, you too, definitely. We should get a room.
Oh my.
Am I allowed to watch?
Oh, well, this got awkward. We've learned something about Mrs. Snarky now.
Yes.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thank you. And so, yeah, thank a big thank you to everyone watching at home. Thank you for all your questions and all your support and in helping me to get where I am today. And my next goal is 250 subs. So watch this space for for the next celebration video. And if you have any suggestions of for what I could do, then let me know. You can contact me on Twitter. I think there's a link in the description. If not, I'll put a link to my Twitter in the description. You can get me on or you can message me here. Leave a comment. And
can I sing us out?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Black sofa, don't forget to ring that bell. Black sofa, subscribe or go to hell.
Good night, people.